Looking over the release schedule for 2023, I cannot help but notice something regarding the number of family films slated to open in theaters. There are not that many. In fact, as of this recording, the first family film from a major studio that will be released on the big screen is the Super Mario Bros. Movie in April. There is an animated film named The Amazing Maurice scheduled for February 3rd, but I'm not sure how wide this is, as it's from a distributor that does not tend to put their films on many screens. Now, eventually, we will see ones from Disney, Sony, Paramount, and a few more from Universal. However, even in 2022, I noticed a drop compared to pre-pandemic times. Before 2020, it was fairly common to see a new family film open in theaters every month. In 2022, there were entire months with nothing aimed at that audience. For example, The Bad Guys occupied theaters without any new family competition for almost 2 months. DC League of Super Pets similarly did not have to deal with films aimed at the same demographic during August and September. That did help give those films incredible staying power, as theaters did not replace their screens with the newest family attraction in town. But it also got me thinking, why? It's not because studios are investing less in them, as companies like Disney, Universal, and Sony continue to produce ones from their in-house animation studios and other units. I think this partly has to do with a couple of things. One is the rise of streaming services. Disney, for instance, is producing a lot of films for Disney+. I feel like Disenchanted and the live-action Pinocchio would have likely been made for theatrical distribution if the mouse had not entered the streaming market. Paramount similarly has their own service ending in the word plus. Studios like Aardman also partnering more with streaming companies, whereas before they would look for a distributor to release their films theatrically. I would not be surprised if Laika's next film ends up debuting on Amazon or Netflix or Apple. Even Skydance Media, which is mostly partnered with Paramount Pictures on several productions, has worked more with streamers lately, including their first animated film Luck going to Apple. I also think distributors have started to recognize parents have gotten choosier about when they decide to put their children in the minivan and take them to the local multiplex. Movie theater tickets are expensive, and most will probably only pick a few each year to go to. Even before the pandemic, distributors got this lesson the hard way near the end of 2019. Remember when the movie Arctic Dogs opened in November of that year? It scored one of the worst opening weekends for wide release ever, and it did not take long for many theaters to remove it from their screens. Maybe that movie would have done okay 5 years earlier, but the novelty of computer animation wore off a while ago, and you cannot just put one in theaters and expect families to show up because of it. Playmobil the movie did poorly too, and only managed to scrape by with a little over $1 million in North America, and did not do much better in countries where Playmobil is a more popular brand. I think if released after the pandemic started, both would have absolutely been straight to streaming or VOD releases, as opposed to getting a theatrical release. Another family film that opened around then was the live-action Nickelodeon comedy Playing with Fire, which actually performed okay. However, it also feels like the kind of film Paramount would have produced exclusively for their streaming service had it gotten the green light after 2020. Basically, I think studios are opting to put family films in theaters if they feel they have a chance of reaping sizable profits, rather than rolling the dice on something viewers might decide to wait for streaming. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I was quite charmed by Better Late Than Ever and Flora and Ulysses, 2 films produced for Disney+, that I'm not sure would have even gotten the green light if Disney was only making films for theatrical release. The other thing is that other types of movies are appealing to family audiences beyond the ones we traditionally classify as family movies. Superhero movies, for example. Currently scheduled for March is the superhero film Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which I imagine plenty of children will want to see. Despite its PG-13 rating, Warner Brothers will probably still market the film towards anyone tuning into Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, as they know it will appeal to children who love superheroes and enjoy the fantasy of youngsters becoming adult superpowered beings. The production of family films mostly appears to be divided between streaming services and theatrical distributors, and I'm actually okay with that. You still have ones coming to theaters, just less so than before, and streamers are picking up projects that maybe would not have been made if theaters were the only option for distribution. The Sea Beast was one of Netflix's most viewed films last year, but how would it have fared with a traditional theatrical release and having to compete with other summer titles? It's something I wonder. In any case, I'm certainly very curious to see how family films like Elemental, Harold and the Purple Crayon, the new animated Ninja Turtles movie, and others perform when they roll into theaters over the coming months, as studios continue to make decisions for what family films should play on the big screen.